6 days later. While talking with Marilyn Manson today, my brushstrokes glided over the canvas with ease. Some would find a conversation a distraction. I, however, do my best work this way. Marilyn Manson told me of a small village to the south called Hackdirt. Seems as though some people have gone missing, and that is part of the reason for the need of his services. Also, someone has stolen a painting of the Countess's late husband, Chocolate Vagina, and she does not wish for me to have any of mine taken as well. Very thoughtful of her. I must find a way to show my appreciation. December again. As I finish the final touches on my works, I can only hope that what I have done will be accepted by the Countess. I considered creating a nice painting of the land before time to the south, but I've no doubt she has seen this view far too many times and she doesn't like dinosaurs. Instead, I chose to paint the adjoining view to the painting I made for my Lord Pilaf. Each of them is one half of a whole, yet each a complete painting of their own. Also, I painted the bathroom. Next day, I presented the Countess Ariana with the painting, and she indeed seemed delighted, I could tell. However, she clearly missed the one stolen of the late Count. With my work done, Lord Gothrin seemed especially eager to travel onward to Skingard. I do hope his time here was pleasant. Next day. According to the ceremony involved with this tour of Chicago, and although we shall travel a stone throw from the Imperial City, we cannot stop there until last. It is a way to build its glory as the crown jewel of the Empire. While we view it from afar, I suppose, our next destination, Stalingrad, promises to be a spectacular sight as well. Next day. Sometimes I believe my paintbrush is blessed by the divines. It seems as though each new painting becomes easier and faster to do the more I share in its creation with the people around me. The bridge to Castle sees a lot of people in a day's time, which has allowed for a lot of conversation. I even talked to a clown. Met a, let's say, interesting wood elf today. Swears up and down people are trying to bring him to ruin. He completely distracted me with his large penis. I'll have to travel into town and check the alchemist shop for something to clear that spot of paint away. Blundering fool. Oh wait, he did something wrong. He was painting and then he was like, I'm Pinocchio, and he drew the wrong thing. Last night I was visited in my sleeping chambers by the Count of Stalingrad, Jesus Hasselhoff. From the moment his gaze was upon me, I was frozen with fear, as sure as I pen these words are as sure I am he was a vampire. I will keep this to myself until home at the embassy, lest I incur his wrath. Once the shock had passed, I realized he was viewing my work on the paintings, as I silently prayed to baby Jesus that they meet his approval. He spoke to me, making a very odd request. He simply asked that a drop of his blood be added to the red that will go on the paintings. However odd, I readily agreed, and it was done. I think a band in the 70s or 80s did that. Maybe it was Queen. I think it was Queen. Amazingly, it made the paint actually match better than what I had previously mixed. After he left, I worked on those paintings through the night, putting all the final touches on them. Hopefully Lord Gothrin will be ready to leave soon. I also drew a secret squirrel in the painting. We resumed travel today, making way for Kvatch! Lord Gothrin is in the rear wagon, sleeping off the effects of a 3-day wine sampling from 2 of the local vineyards, from 1 of the beavers. I could use a glass right now myself. We are camped below the hill which leads to Kvatch, with a handful of survivors. The sky overhead churns reddish, and evil darkening everything around. From the terrified tales of the people here, portals or gates to Oblivion opened within the city, and Daedra poured through. I tried to plead with Lord Jesus that we should leave, but he said, no, this is a tour of Chicago. We gotta complete it. I am not one to tempt fate, so I wish to remain at base camp. Gothrin would have none of it, and commanded me to do my goddamn job, or return to the fucking embassy. If these may be my last words, I pray to the 9 cats above to watch over my watches. Oblivion gates, if I weren't seeing them myself, I wouldn't believe it. I only saw them in the Ghostbuster movies. Although fears grips me as I glad Gothrin made me come. I'm working with a furious fervor to capture the sight before me. Some of the Kvatch guards are keeping watch over the flaming portal that exists before the main gate of the city. Occasionally, terrible creatures come through the gate and attack the guards. Lord Gothrin and Sergeant Beshner have taken up arms with them to help in any way they can. The leader claims a heroic individual has traveled into the portal to try to close it, and may even be in a previous video game. Oh my god, a reference! Sorry. A terrible, terrible thing has occurred. During one of the fights with the Daedra, Lord Gothrin entered the Oblivion portal, and then someone said, "Now you're thinking with portals." We immediately killed him and said if anyone says anything about portal, that we're gonna murder them. And don't make any companion cube jokes, we get it. The game's like 4 years old. All we can do now is pray this unknown hero can save him and close the portal. Just before nightfall, the Oblivion portal exploded with violent fury. Before I realized my feet were moving, I found myself running toward the remnants of the portal. As the smoke cleared, the gates to the city opened, and survivors came out. To my astonishment, my Lord Gothrin was among them. He seemed slightly disoriented, but otherwise, okie dokie, Dr. Jones. As soon as the first question was asked, he said yes, I'll marry you. He seemed different. He wanted to marry me. 2 weeks later. Just before the rise of the Sun Lord, Gothrin was ready to travel onward to Anvil. Before we departed, he called me to the side and told me as soon as each of my paintings were complete to be ready to travel. We will only spend that amount of time at each of the remaining cities. He said that as soon as we could, we must return to the embassy, but would say no more. Avril Lavigne is a most magnificent city, and the view across the ocean is truly spectacular. I can see Russia from here. I met another painter today, Asia Inventions. We had quite the conversation, and spent some time viewing each other's works. I mean penises. This was refreshing indeed. It is sad that she was dealing with the infidelity of her husband, though. That seems to be a common story, since everyone in this city is a hussy. Today, Asia gave me a painting she had done of Avril Lavigne Lighthouse, and I must say I couldn't have done better myself. I continued my work painting the city, and Gothrin came by and he was like, "Yo, what's up?" I'm not sure what it is, but something has changed within him. His gaze is just more piercing, like he's looking straight right through me, into my pants. I prayed to the 9 Jesus cats to guide my brush and allow me to make haste with my works. Umbrellas. Millions of umbrellas paid me a visit today. Gothrin spoke of my duty during their diner, and she wished to view the works I have completed. Her husband, the Count Corvus Umbrellas, has been missing for some time. It is a credit to the women of the Empire how many have answered the call of service after the demise of their husbands. She was pleased with my work and wished me well on my journey ahead. Gothrin called a meeting as soon as the carts were ready. He informed us that we would not be stopping at any of the other towns on our way to Bravel. We will stop for lunch and rest the horses, but otherwise he wants to reach Bravel by nightfall. It was just a little past noon. We were packing up the lunch when we were attacked by a minotaur. It seemed bent on assaulting Gothrin, which actually led to its downfall. It was so driven to reach him, it never even stopped, and saw Sergeant Beshner with a giant shotgun. Even so, as it died, its grip was so tight around his neck and arm, they had to be severed to removed. Enraged by this attack, Gothrin took the beast's head and mounted it on the wagon. He said, "This is a minotaur wagon now," and then we all peed. Gothrin took no time in getting me acquainted with a guard from Bravel. He seems more intent than ever to get this journey completed. At this point, however, I can't blame him either. As we ate last night with Count Regulus Torrentius, the dominant conversation was with the appearance of more Oblivion portals around Cyrodiil. I can only wonder if these events are happening here in Cyrodiil or elsewhere. I hope I had a TV. Wish. The fog and moisture around here make my balls really salty. I'm doing my best to work in these conditions, but today the fog from the river was so thick I could barely see Batman. I'm just glad that the Count has been keeping Gothrin entertained, so he is not breathing down my neck. According to the locals, the Count seems to have let his position and power go to his head. They say that the Emperor's death only made that worse, and he always counts. 1, 2, 3, ha ha ha. I must say this has not been the most attractive city to paint. Most of common houses, little more than shacks built on top or shacks. I mean, no disrespect, just stating that this place looks like a shithole. The fog finally cleared today. I steadied my hand and did my best to work as efficiently as I could. Batman gave me a kiss. I'm so glad to have this blessed paintbrush, for it must be blessed. The 9 have seemed to guide my hands during this tour of Cyrodiil. As I think on this, it gives me chills. What if this document of paint is being guided by the 9 because with these Oblivion gates opening, Cyrodiil will never be the same again? Today was interesting indeed. We were accompanied by Modron Orions, my fellow Dunmer, from Chorrell to Lindenburg. Apparently he has some Gould Guild business to attend there. We caught up, and he verified the existence of more portals to Oblivion opening. He also spoke of Stargates opening. Uh-oh, here comes Daniel Jackson. It seems as though Lithuania fares no better than Bravo on the fog scale. I'll have to keep my fingers crossed and my asshole puckered. As the day grew and the fog cleared here in Lithuania, I worked on the main portrait of the city. Modron had one of his companions from the Fighters Guild show me a beautiful view outside the city. She was a Khajiit hunter named Sakasha, who was eager to help me and get out of the guild. She told me a rival group called the Blackwood Company was claiming all the work in Letsabashka, probably why Modron has come. After Gothrin paid me a visit to help motivate me with motivating, and I noticed a new tattoo showing just under his collar. And I was like, what is that on your back of your hand? And he was like, I'm not sure what has happened, but the young lord has changed ever since he returned from the portal in Oblivion. That look of pure hatred I saw is just a tattoo of Thomas the Tank Engine. I've heard it said before that fear is a great motivator, experiencing it firsthand, though I can honestly say it's true. I worked today faster than any in the past, that is for sure. As I was putting the finishing touches on my most recent work, an old lady told me something that made me very excited. She informed me that the Cyrodiilic renowned painter Reith Lithendas has taken up residence in Shaka Chaka! Getting an opportunity to meet this legendary artist is going to be a personal highlight for me in this entire journey. I would love to get his honest opinion on the works I've been doing in his homeland. Lord Gothrin booked us passage on board a pirate vessel named Pirates. Normally I would protest such an action, but the combination of my eagerness to reach Cha-Cha-Cha and my lord's recent foul disposition are enough to keep my silence, undoubtedly. I wondered why pirates wouldn't simply just cutlass our throats, but after watching Gothrin use his status as an emissary to bypass the Imperial checkpoint, it became clear. The captain, Gaston Toussaint, kept his end of the arrangement and deposited us on the eastern shore. With any luck, we will reach Cha-Cha-Cha by noon. The Count of Cha-Cha-Cha Anvil, India, is no stranger to us. Being a member of House Halal, he has visited the Skyrim embassy on many occasions. As happy as we were to see him, it was sorrowful as well to learn of the death of his wife, Lady Lethassa. After we ate some beans with County Indaris, I immediately set out to find Reith. Although nearly everyone has heard of him, they all say he's gone missing. As much as it seems the gods have guided my hand and brush, luck has not been my ally. I spoke with his wife, Tevella, who was genuinely concerned about him and seemed to be leading in to asking my help when Gothrin caught me by the shoulder and demanded to know why I wasn't at work. I swear the tattoo has been added to since the last time I saw it. Thomas now has a few carts behind him. Cha-cha-cha-cha reminds me of home so greatly, it brings me a slight pain to my heart. One can see the heavy Dunmer influence in the architecture, and even the way the streets are laid. I think I will ask Lord Pilaf Rice to return to Vivek when time allows. Hopefully a break will have been earned after this journey. I am struggling to find the right angle to capture the beauty of the city. There are so many nice views. I suppose I must settle on one if I am to save my head, though. Work has been going rather swiftly, I must say. The people here are very friendly, well, except for this one douchebag, Ulrich Leland, the captain of the guard. To quote him, "I don't know you, and I don't care to know you," he has said on many occasions. From what I have gathered from the other townsfolk, they claim he's pretty corrupt and needs to be shot in the mouth. Today was a grand day indeed, for I finally got to meet Reith. He told me about getting trapped by trolls and then being rescued by a champion. I suppose I should be glad my work keeps me within the safety of the city. I showed him my works, and he likewise presented some of his. I will gladly admit the rumors of his greatness were not understated. His attention to detail and realism was such I almost swore I saw the leaves of a tree sway in the breeze. Understanding the reasons behind my work, he made me an offer I can't refuse. He offered to put some finishing touches on the works I am doing here in which is for me an honor indeed. I dare say even Lord Pilaf may be impressed to have a painting from Leithlithashkapot upon the embassy wall. His only request was his privacy while doing... Ooh, okay. We got something. I don't know what the fudge cha-cha-cha looks like, though. So all these paintings in the room, for those of you who are paying attention, all the paintings in this room are painted by this guy. This guy's Grandpa Dingle Dogs. So one of these paintings in here has magic properties, or it opens a door, or it's very nice to look at. With Rife doing the finishing touches on the Chinchachao works, Lord Gothrin decided to complete the tour of Cyrodiil. We will be going on to the Imperial City, and once we are finished there, returning to Chachao, Chaden Hall. There we go, Chaden Hall. Before going back home to the Skyrim Embassy. Lord Gothrin minced no words last night after a dinner with Chancellor Okato. I am to do my paintings and locate him immediately on their completion. Even though he wore his stately attire with the highest collar, I could still see the edges of that ever-growing tattoo, even under his hairline. I'm no fool, that can't be a natural tattoo. Something had to have happened to him while he was within that Oblivion gate. I've even heard the guards murmuring about it. Speaking of guards, Gothrin took the liberty of getting an Imperial Guard to assist me in the completion of my works, whatever that means. Perhaps it has to do with all these rumors of a so-called leader of the Thieves' Guild known as the Grey Fox. More than likely, it is to be a reminder that my work must be completed in haste. In either case, I believe my time here will be less grand than I have envisioned. Is that another reference? Are these all references? The Grand Fox and the hero? Magic Fox? What does the fox say? There are so many different features of the Imperial City worthy of painting. It is a travesty not being able to properly take the time to paint them. Perhaps after returning to Lord Pilaf, we will see fit to send me back to do a proper job. I've done everything I can to gain some measure of insight from this guard to better capture the essence of the Imperial City. I've decided, given the time, I will start with a street view of the market district. This is the hub of trade for Cyrodiil, after all. Then I will do something involving the Imperial Gardens and the White Gold Tower. Yesterday evening, Gothrin came to me with the most unusual request. Well, more like a demand. When he removed his hood, I immediately saw that the tattoo had grown over his scalp, under his hair, and was beginning to go over his face. I think he's going to want him to paint over it so you can't see it. He said that I must find a way to cover these markings before his meeting with Chancellor Akato. I made my way to an alchemy shop, the main ingredient, and found the supplies I needed, then applied them early this morning. As I pen these words, I swear that Lord Gothrin's face has begun to change. I mean, the features themselves. After I had finished applying the cover to his face, he grabbed me by the throat and lifted me from my stool. Ew, you were pooping? He told me if I spoke of what we did to anyone, he would eat my heart and send its defecated remains home to my family. Maybe it was my fear in the moment, but I swear the voice was not his own. You should probably tell someone about this. I've spent the last few days working as efficiently as I could, and each morning applying cover makeup to Lord Gothrin's face, and now hands. His tactics of intimidation seem to also be growing, and he seems to take great pleasure using me as his personal victim for insults lately. I've never seen a Dremora, but from all depictions I know of, it seems like Gothrin's becoming one. Maybe I should tell someone, 'cause I'm a dumbass. I've had to be very secretive about this journal, since Gothrin saw me writing in it the other night. He asked me what I was writing, but I told him it was a story about Thomas the Tank Engine. Also, he lost interest. We are spending one final night here in Chaden Hall, then heading for the Skyrim Embassy. I had to resupply myself with the ingredient. Okay, so this is what's hidden in the basement. It's this guy's soul or something. That's what I'm guessing. Spoilers. I had to resupply myself with the ingredients I've been using on the young lord's skin. I must wonder how long Gothrin plans on hiding what is happening to him, and if anyone will even notice. Maybe I should tell someone. All day I tried to have a moment alone with Lord Pilaf, but he was so involved with the return of his son, he wouldn't leave his side. I wanted so badly to botch the makeup as I applied it, but the look in Gothrin's eye let me know it had better be the best job yet. Okay, so he wants to talk to Lord Pilaf and tell him, because no one else is going to believe him and he'll probably get killed. Okay, I got you. As we ate supper and Gothrin told his father of our travels, Pilaf would have me present my paintings, then hang them upon the walls of the dining hall. It was so odd, however. He had a very specific order they were to be hung, although it seemed very random. Instead of leading from one to another, I must inquire about this. Wait, what? Instead of leading... Although it seemed very random, instead of leading from one to another. Okay, so instead of... There's no order. I must inquire about this in the morning and hopefully tell him what has happened. Okay. So one of these paintings does something. What was the one? Shaden Hall. That was it. Shaden Hall. Shaden Hall, where are you? Little baby Shaden Hall. Oh, Avril Lavigne Lighthouse. Shaden Hall. So that's pretty cool backstory for all that. Oh, there we go. You find a tiny lever behind the edge of the painting, and here it's like, what city comes next in the tour of Citadel? Oh, I don't fucking know. I know. Ugh. Dogs and penises.